Hi, I'm Jim Lynch. Welcome to Top of the World News. Please like and subscribe. Please follow me on all forms of social media: Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. Also, I have a backstage profile page because, as most of you know, or regular watchers of this forum, I completed a screenplay, and hopefully that screenplay will be on your screens relatively soon. So, go to my backstage profile if you want to know a little bit more about that. Today, I am dressing down yet again in honor of the holiday season. I am one who celebrates Christmas. So I am wearing my ugly Eagles Christmas sweater. We defeated the New Orleans Saints this past weekend. Huge win for our team. We're still in the playoff hunt. So, who knows how many more weeks I'm going to be able to wear that, because we may never have a win like that for the rest of the season. We got 3 games left. Let's keep our fingers crossed. So, as you guys can probably figure out, I am a huge sports fan, and I don't know how many of you people saw it, but there was a University of Florida basketball player who collapsed on the court, and this was a seemingly healthy young man, and he collapsed unconscious. Now, the young man was hospitalized. He is in critical but stable condition, and he's resting comfortably in the hospital as we speak. Tests are being done to try to figure out the cause of the collapse, but it looks like things are heading in the right direction. My prayers go out to this young man and his family, that hopefully he'll be able to have a full recovery and experience a full life and experience, all the things that he loves once again. But that brings me to this week's topic, and I'm reminded about how quickly life can change and be altered drastically. Suddenly you or a family member could suddenly be dealing with different. Most of you watching this forum deal with different. Either you or a loved one, and you've been dealing with this either since birth or for a long time. However, some, like this young man and his family, have had different thrust upon them. I even had difference thrust upon me, not in my case, but in the case of my son. He was diagnosed with anxiety and ADHD, and I often struggle with my son's different from time to time. So I am not passing judgment on anyone. I struggle with this as well. And I actually wrote an article a few months back in the Attitude magazine, which delves into this in more detail than I'm going to go into here. So if that's something you'd like to check out, go to the Attitude website. That's ADDITUDE, not ATT. It's ADDITUDE. That's attitude.com, and that delves into a lot more detail than what I'm going to go into here. So if it's a good read, give it a glance if you have a minute or two. But because I struggle with this, I wanted to kind of go into this in some detail, because even I, with cerebral palsy and dealing with that for these many years still need a review sometimes. So again, it's not to be preachy, but as I say, it's just kind of going over things that are important, I believe. And the first thing I want to talk about is D for deliberate. Routine is key for someone who has a disability. There's a need to eliminate variables. If you have someone such as myself, who has difficulty walking or moving, maybe you don't clutter the hallway with a bunch of objects that I need to work my way around. It just stands to be common sense. And that's true for most people who have different in their lives. Try to eliminate the things that may cause problems, control the things you can control. I is for I have a disability. Wrong. It's not just you that has the disability. It is you and your family and your entire support system. You guys are all dealing with this issue in some form or fashion. And as such, the quicker you can come to grips with that, the better it's going to be for all the parties involved. F is for feelings. Don't ever devalue the feelings of the person who is different. Because as I said in the previous statement, you're all dealing with this, but no one is dealing with it more and more directly than your loved one who is different. So be a good listener and always put value to those feelings and those concerns. F is for flexible. Few things in life are this way or no way. There's always some gray area, some wiggle room. And again, getting back to what we just discussed, taking into account somebody's feelings and thoughts and concerns, you need to be flexible to those feelings and those thoughts or concerns and be willing to change. Be willing to change on the fly if need be. Because not everything's going to be smooth as ice, as the song says. R is for rational. When one is emotional, the first thing we lose is rational thought. And this is one of the things I have trouble with as it relates to my own son. I am one who tends to fire and then aim, if that makes sense. If he does something which I find objectionable, I will have a tendency to raise my voice or be emotional towards him, when if I just had taken a 5 or 10 second time out, I would have dealt with it differently. And I struggle with that often. I go back and I say, shoot, I wish I would have done that, dealt with that issue differently. Because had I dealt with it differently, I would have dealt with it better. Now, I try to be better as time passes and take those 5 or 10 second timeouts. But, that is something that I need to deal with. And I think it's something that, all of the support system can benefit by taking those 5 to 10 second timeouts and see how best to deal with a situation at a particular moment in time. E is for elated. Elated is encouragement on steroids. Life is very difficult for the person who is dealing with different. So with that being said, the successes that they do have, let's make a big deal about them. That was something that I feel very fortunate that when I was growing up was something that my family did, and did well, and did often. As I started my talk out today, I am a lover of sports, all sports, and I participated in sports as a young person. And I participated in soccer and basketball and baseball and wasn't particularly good at any of them. So when I did have success, a big deal was made of those things. Now, a little bit later down the line, I discovered wrestling actually at my mother's encouragement and had a modest degree of success as a wrestler, and those successes were always, a light was always shining on those things. Maybe at times a light that was brighter than it should have been, but it kept me wanting to do and kept me wanting to participate. And that is something that is super, super important for somebody who is dealing with difference. Okay? And as for know your loved one who is dealing with different. Know and understand when they need their independence. Be willing to let them fall and get back up. In my case, that was a literal thing. There are times when I would literally fall, and I dust myself off, I get myself up, and we move forward. But know when your loved one needs that independence, but also be willing to help. You know, if they fall and they can't get back up in a figurative sense, be willing to help them. Know when they need help, because most times they're not going to ask. I'm not going to ask. I'm not one to ask. So you have to be willing to stick your hand out and say, okay, Bob, Jane, you know, this is here. I'm willing to help you. You have to be willing to do that and do it in such a way that's not going to demean them. Okay, and T. T is for trust. Trust your instincts. Trust your instincts as far as treatment of your loved one who is different. When I was growing up, and this has continued throughout the years, there's lots of different options available to someone who is struggling with cerebral palsy, or in my son's case, struggling with anxiety and ADHD. And, you know, some you're going to try, some you're not. But make it into a family decision. Include the person who is dealing with different in the decision, and go from there. But if something doesn't feel right, don't do it. You know, you may have 4 different doctors saying, you know, you guys should do this. It would make things better. Well, if you're not feeling it, or your person who is dealing with difference doesn't want to do it, don't force it. Trust your instincts. Do what you feel is best for you and your family. And then move forward with the decision, whatever that is. And if it works out well, fantastic. If it works out, if you don't have the desired outcome, then okay, stop and move on to the next thing. The worst thing you can do is say, well, that's the way we've always done it. Be willing to try. There's something out there that can improve your situation. You just have to find what that is, and there's something out there that can improve your situation and is something you will be comfortable with. But you have to search for that, and it may be multiple things. But again, those things are out there if you're willing to look. So, again, that's my 2 cents. I hope that my talk on different D for deliberate, I for I have a disability, F for flexible, F for feelings, R for rational, N for no, and T for trust. DIFFRENT helps everybody who's watching and listening. Hope it puts you guys on top of the world too. We will talk about business development next week, and hopefully you guys will all be able to tune in, and we'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.